It's Deprogram, the podcast where we try to get you into a band. That's right. We've done all the work for you. All you have to do is push play, or maybe not, push stop. Ha ha! We're going all the way to the top of the mountain. Ha ha! For the mountain song? Okay. We're talking about Jane's Addiction today. And Peter actually put Jane's Addiction on the board, but Peter, unfortunately, not feeling well, had to bow out last second. So that bumps you over a seat, Randy. Randy, Jane's Addiction, it's almost criminal that I have to even ask this question because we're 8 years into the show and we're just now getting to Jane's Addiction. But why did you want to talk about Jane's Addiction?
They're just pivotal band of the 90s that in some retrospects, this is very weird saying this, that I was kind of talking in the chat about this and specifically about Dave Navarro, but I think you can kind of take this as Jane's Addiction in a whole, but it felt like their time in the 90s was weirdly cut short, but then they almost never went anywhere because the songs, you know, you have to think Ritual de la Habitual, it came out in 91, and I remember the song still, like, Been Caught Stealing was still getting major play on MTV in, like, 1998, 1999, and I know they had a small reunion in 1997, but it felt to me like there was a time where almost Jane's Addiction was getting to the point where, you know, they're kind of overrated. And I was kind of mentioning that about Dave Navarro, and I think a lot of what people think about Dave Navarro is they think about One Hot Minute with the Red Hot Chili Peppers outside of Jane's Addiction. They kind of think, well, he did that and it wasn't successful. I like that record. And I think we had that conversation that we all like that record. But I think it came to a point where Dave Navarro was kind of everywhere. I think he had a reality show where that was all about his wedding to Carmen Electra and everything like that. And it was just like, get out of the public spotlight. And then they kind of like went under the radar for a while after their 2003 comeback and resurgence. And then that was the year Lollapalooza came back. Jane's Addiction is back. Like, you know, it worked and people were paying attention again. But it feels like when people are talking about great 90s bands and great 90s guitarists that both, and even frontman, gotta add Perry into this, like, it just doesn't feel like they're anybody's first or fifth or 10th pick, weirdly enough. And that's based off of, obviously, when you think of 90s rock, it's geared towards Seattle. So the first people you're going to think are Pearl Jam, Nirvana, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, and then some of the other bands. And then I think a little bit of it has to do with they're kind of their own genre. They are alternative, but as we know of what alternative to be is, alternative is just different than everybody else. But they are kind of the alternative of alternative as well. They're very artsy. The second half of Ritual is like 30 minutes long and it's 4 songs. Like it's such a different style than the first half of that record, the A side. But a lot of what they do is just kind of, they can have those rock hooks and they can get you on a good rock and roll song, but then they get a little spiritual. They get a little kind of, you know, psychedelic in ways sometimes. And yeah, I think that they made a huge impact. They're a huge influence on so many different bands of that era and bands that kind of grew to be what they are now, like in the early 2000s, late 2000s and all that. And I think it's going to be an interesting conversation today because, again, that sound was pretty fresh and original. I think a lot of what I read, people were trying to compare him to like a little bit of The Cure, a little bit of Bauhaus, and a little bit of what they were doing mixed within some standard straight up rock and roll. But a lot of what they did was extremely original for the time that they were doing it. And think about it. Their first record, which is the live album, the self-titled, which we didn't cover in this because of it being a live album, but really those songs should get their due as well. It was ahead of its time.
Mm-hmm.
And all the bands that were out at that time were all like hair metal bands, and that would quickly fade. And I think Jane's Addiction might be one of the first bands, you know, even when REM kind of came into like the just mainstream a little bit in the late 80s. I think they were the ones that kind of spearheaded that, all right, this is the wave of the future of rock and roll here, and hair metal is going to kind of stay as sort of a figment of the past. So they are pretty important to cover, and even though it's been 8 years, glad we're sitting here today doing so.
Absolutely. And I feel like this is one of the first ones you may have hopped on, Curtis, and somehow, again, still somehow took like 2 or 3 years to get here. But Jane's Addiction, walk me through it.
Yeah, very Randy touched on like the kind of push and pull that I'm sure everybody, even super fans of Jane's Addiction, probably have, and that you know, our love for it maybe isn't unanimous all through the years. There is legitimately an album that I listened to for the very first time for prep for this episode, so legitimately had never heard of it up until now. Some of the something that's interesting to me, like in the last 10 years, is like the predecessors just before all of my very favorites, right? So like those early 90s bands, the big break of alternative rock, Seattle, Smashing Pumpkins, Green Day, just that early 90s wave, who was like right before that, and are bands that I've really, really been enjoying a lot in the last 10 years. Pixies is probably like just totally changed how I listen to music, and The Cult. That era is really fascinating to me. There's like just two unassailable albums, and I'm sure we'll get into it, not to spoil what we're going to talk about here too much, but yeah, maybe we wore out our welcome here a little bit, and maybe we can hash that out here in the episode.
It's hard to not echo kind of everything that you guys are saying. I do want to hammer home the point of, I feel like when they hit the scene, it's like, whoa, you know, like all those songs, like you kind of fall in love with them, and you kind of go, cool, this is, I love, this is great. And you know, like they have their they have their Beavis and Butthead moment with Ben Caught Stealing, and Mountain Song actually also on Beavis and Butthead, and it's like, so you kind of have those touchstones of that era. And then Dave goes off to do Chili Peppers, and Perry does Porno for Pyros, if I'm correct in reading this, with everybody else, right? Like, is Porno for Pyros just everybody but Dave? Okay.
Yes.
But somehow that's like a whole different entity. And then they come back together, and it's weird because, as Randy mentioned, like it feels like they didn't really go away, even though you know that they did. And the Jane Says of the world, and you know, again, we'll get song specific here in the next round, but you know, it felt like, okay, I'm done. You know, like I don't need Jane's Addiction anymore. And then, you know, they come back and it's like, okay. And then by the time we get here to when we're doing the show, it's like, it is weird. I feel like these guys never got their actual flowers. Like they never, even though like they were a pretty huge band at a moment, you know, and it's just so bizarre. Like when you look at the music industry and you break down a band like Jane's Addiction, because for as long as they've been around, everything we covered was only 4 records. Like, and as Randy mentioned, there's the live record that we didn't cover, but you would think that there would be more music because they came back a while ago and they were just out on tour just last year with the Pumpkins. So it's not like they're a dormant band. They're back out there. They're just, I guess, just touring on what they've got. And again, maybe that's for the better, but I guess this is the perfect segue to that part. So again, there's not a lot here, Randy, but like, as you're going through it, how are you looking to put together your list for this? Like, what are you looking for in a Jane's Addiction song?
Well, I did like 3 days worth of hardcore heroin, and I argued with every single person that came in direct contact with me. So I think I'm pretty well prepared for this episode. No, I think it's easy because I think I hadn't sat down and listened to the first two records and God knows how long. Like, even it could go back to high school, to be honest with you, to where I didn't quite know every single song off Ritual, especially those songs at the end, the last four, like I mentioned before. Nothing Shocking was like that, that brought me back. That was a record that I had listened to constantly. And I know everything. I kind of remember every word and everything like that. And the return, I'm going to call this the 2003 record is the comeback record. Mm-hmm. And then the 2011 record, that is the, we still exist and we felt like doing something record. I wouldn't call that a comeback because you really only get one. Mm-hmm. You really only get one. And then after, and I think it was like 10 to 15 years after they were formed. So you still have that like, wow, it's a big deal that Jane's Addiction came back. And then, like you said, Curtis, 2011, this record comes out and like, who the hell knows about it? I had no freaking clue that they put anything else out. Now, that's partially due to me. Mm-hmm. And from 2010 to about 2014, I had no idea what was going on in the music industry unless it was like the close bands that I follow. And at the time, honestly, it was kind of a small handful. It wasn't a whole lot of them. So they were way off my radar. And yeah, I think kind of going through this and especially listening to that last record, the one that came out in 2011, which Great Escape Artist, I think it's called. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's one thing I want to say about that. And now, obviously, you're not going to have the same performances from Perry that you do in the previous three. He's is older and his voice is not the same as what it was. And the record is a lot different than what they had already previously released. And that was probably, a byproduct of everything. But it's weird. Like, I was trying to figure out like what it reminded me of, and it kind of felt like almost like a dance record in a way. Yeah. Like a little like here's the best example, and I know, Curtis, if I tell you this, then you'll be able to specifically tell me if you agree or disagree with this. But it reminds me of the Sleater-Kinney record, The Center Won't Hold, and that sound off of that record.
Yeah, absolutely. They tried something different. It's really not the classic style. There are minimal high watermarks, and you got to kind of like it for what it is. It's not something to be enjoyed by fans of the classic style at all.
Right. If you can compartmentalize that, you'll be okay.
Right? Yeah, great comp.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think, again, like this was also, I don't think I ever have done a do program. I know The Waitresses was a quick turnaround, but this was 7 days and done. I think I might have listened to the first two records a total of 4 times through. And then Strays I listened to probably 3 times. And then this record probably 2.5 times. So, I feel like I didn't get to have a relationship with some of the songs as much as I probably would had if we would have had more allotment of time for this one. But that's okay, because we'll be able to do this episode. We'll be able to knock it out of the park like we always do. And then we also did the Kettle Whistle album. There had a couple of original songs on there. I believe Kettle Whistle was something that they recorded with Flea, and there are a couple demos and stuff. So we added on 4 songs that weren't on the first 2 records that were released to that. So like 45 songs in total. It really wasn't a bad listen, but we'll see where this goes.
So to all that, Curtis, like what are you looking at as you're putting your list together?
Pretty light work. Those 2 classic albums were just kind of a refresher. It was my listens to those in the last 30 years are probably in the 500 plus. Just a little bit of a refresh. I don't know when the last time was to sit through the whole thing. Yeah, Kettle Whistle, that I remember that coming out and listening to that. Strays, was glad to give that maybe some fresh ears. And Great Escape Artist, that 100% new to me. So it was very light work. The volume of stuff was easy. I did wish I would be able to do on all Deprogrammed, which is just throw the playlist that gets put together on and listen to it passively a couple times. And yeah, we'll see what comes out in the wash here.
So at the risk of broken recording for the second time, yeah, man, like everything you need is in those first 2 records. Like I feel like Strays is a solid output. Like it belongs, right? Like I feel like there's a couple quality contenders off of that record, but the last one, I brought some just to be fair to it, but I feel like it's its own thing. Like I feel like if nothing gets through off of that record, we're fine. Like I said, I brought some just to be fair to it, just in case. And I said this after my first pass. I was like, I rather enjoyed the last 2 records. You know what I mean? I enjoyed them for what they were. It's just when you've got Shocking and Ritual, like those are some pretty tall trees to try to mix it up with. So I think this band's discography just it gets crushed under the weight of the greatness of the first 2. Like their own success is what destroyed the possibility of true greatness in the back half of their stuff, and time, and all the things we've already kind of qualified. So yeah, I'm front loaded. I have a decent amount from Strays. I think I got 1 from the really early record, and then 1 or 2 from the last record. So like I'm not evenly dispersed, and I'm not going to press for anything from like that last record. I do think we probably should have something from Strays, because like I said, I think there's some quality jams that kind of can hang with the early stuff. So it sounds like there's, and again, I hope Peter gets well, but I mean, in some regards, him dropping out does kind of change this next part of the conversation a little bit, because now we went from 4 people gotta land to only 3. And we do have Peter's list just in case we need tiebreakers. But based on everything that we've kind of said so far, Randy, what do you think we're going to do for the final say? How many do you think we're going to get through?
Well, I will say this. I think I probably have more off of Strays than I initially thought I would. I'm looking at, like, I represented Strays and I represented Escape Artist pretty okay. And that's the only thing that's like holding me back a little bit. But I feel like the ones off of Strays seem pretty obvious to take. So I don't know. Because this discog is so small, I think there are a couple of just home run hitters that you just got to go for. There are some that I might not have out of just plain just not wanting to have, but I think we can do 6 on this.
Okay. Yeah. I can see that. What are you thinking, Curtis?
We can go even higher. 7 is feasible.
Honestly, 7 was the one I was eyeballing. 7 seems plausible. But I do think I'm wary of a couple of the ones that seem like they could be home runs, because there's one for sure that I don't have, which could kind of, pull us back. I'm looking at 7 songs though that feasibly all 3 of us could have, but since 6 and 7 are off the board, 8 seems a little too hopeful, so I'm going to grab 5 since it's available. All right. Now, we're going to take a quick pause. When we come back, we're going to find out which one of us is right. We're going to play the game. Stay tuned. And with that, the name of the game is Deprogrammed. The 3 of us have combed through the Jane's Addiction discography and plucked out 20 songs that we're now going to mash together in an attempt to create a top 10 starter kit for you, in case you have never given Jane's Addiction the time of day. I have to start here as number 1. It's a song we covered in my old band Stale. It's a song that they played on Beavis and Butthead. This one I feel like has a strong case as number 1. I don't know that it necessarily will be. I think we're about to find out, because if it gets in unanimously, I think it has a great shot at it. I already referenced it in the intro. I'm saying a lot of words to say Mountain Song.
Yes, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah, right?
Yes, obviously. And I may agree, I may not disagree with what you just said there, but I don't want to give anything away on the first pick. But
I mean, it's arguably my favorite Jane song. I mean,
yeah, I think it's
bass,
mine too.
that bass riff when Perry comes in, even just the kind of weird word, like I saw a girl who had pin eyes, or she had pin eyes, and it just, to me, it kind of really epitomizes like how they were going to be different, even though like kind of sound wise, like if you break it down, it's drums, it's bass, it's guitars. Like technically speaking, it's kind of straightforward rock, but they found a way to arrange straightforward rock in a way that felt different.
What I love about this song is Perry's early scream, because I equate it to like that bass is just kind of like an earthquake rumbling in the ground, and when he comes up and screams, that's him like breaking through underground and like breaking through the surface. And it's just a super powerful, epic song. Yeah, I know people that don't like this song.
That's
and
wild.
I don't really know what to tell them, because that is the best that you're going to get from Jane's, in my opinion.
That seems weird.
Yeah, I know.
All right. 1 down, 9 to go. All right, Randy, where you want to head?
Well, I wanted to head with that first, but I think I will go to... I'll do another easy one. How about Stop?
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Figured so.
And so this is one of the ones like I wasn't sure of going in, because you've heard it like a million times. But then, like, as it came up on the playlist, I was like, oh, no, of course. Like, this is one, if it's not Mountain Song, I could easily see it being Stop as well. Like, this is quintessential. This is what Jane sounds like.
Juana's Addiction.
Yeah. And then that riff, here we go. Oh, it just, again, like, it's kind of, when you look at it on its surface, it's kind of just a regular rock song, but like it's kind of in the same way like a lot of people describe the Pumpkins. Like the Pumpkins will do like gothic western through the Pumpkins lens, you know what I mean? And while I wouldn't necessarily say there's like necessarily a Jane's Addiction lens, but like that's the closest kind of thing I can describe it. Like it is kind of straightforward rock, but it's they've managed to make it sound different, like the same way they did with Mountain Song. I love this. I love Stop.
Yeah, usually bridges of songs kind of like take you and they either kind of bring you up or they give you a solo or something like that, and they get weird. This is like a straightforward rock song where they get a little weird with it, and they kind of, you know, I don't want to say drags because that's not a fair word, but it kind of like just takes you in a different direction of the song and gets a little spacey and gets a little kind of, I don't know, like drug infused almost. And and then they hop back in. It's like, here we go. Yeah, sure.
It's that part you're talking about. It's because it's like they pump the brakes. Like, you know, I mean, again, the name of the song is Stop, but it's like they pump the brakes. Like they don't like hard stop, but like bring it all the way back, space out, and then like you said, it's like then they step right back on the gas. I love it. All right, no pressure, Curtis. Two for two.
Pressure.
Let's keep it rolling. Another super obvious, what feels like a lock to me. Jane Says.
No.
You guys are wild. Oh my goodness.
So I get it. I absolutely. So this is one of those. This is like Blind Melon all over again. This was me going out. Like I couldn't let it go through unanimously. But what's wild? So what's wild with this song is I love it again. You know, for a good long time, I couldn't stand it anymore. Like, I just heard it too much. And I wouldn't have put down a huge fight had everybody else had it. But this is one of those songs where it's like, I kind of wanted to give that, if we can do this list without Jane Says, I'd be very happy. But I also could completely understand if people were like, no, we need to have it. So a little vindication that Randy doesn't have it as well. But for the record, it was an answer we got when I asked listeners, and Peter also had it on his list. So I say vindication for me. If Peter was here, it would have gotten into the conversation. Did you want to throw out a reason, Randy? Like,
I'm pretty much in the same boat as you. I wanted to try and do it without it. You know, sometimes you get a little, like when the radio songs just get overplayed, you just want to ignore them, and you want to be able to, as you say, like do a list without it, and like trying to turn people on to the other songs. Like if we had all of the hits on here, what kind of list are we making? It could have been real easy. I like the song. I agree with you. I like the song too. I don't have any problem with it. I think the kettle drums are very, very cool. The 12-string guitar, obviously. But, like, I don't know. It's kind of, if there are hardcore Jane's fans out there, like, I don't know, I equate it to, and I don't feel like this anymore, but there was a time where it was just like Jeremy and Evenflow were all just really stale to me. And maybe I don't feel that way about Jane Says anymore, but like for a list where I'm looking at a lot of these songs and like feeling something passionate about this, Jane Says doesn't quite fit into that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All that to say, obviously you're not wrong, Curtis, but because there's only 3 of us, you are wrong.
Jeez, oh goodness. It's Jeremy all over again here. At a certain point, we need to get over the radio fatigue and come out the other side.
Yeah.
And we need to come out the other side and say, oh, this is an excellent song. I love having a panel where I have a challenge because it's 2 contrarians and I just have my normie opinion shut down here. So,
well, I'll follow.
Hot start.
I'll follow suit then. Here's another radio jam that I could easily see either one of you kind of going, nah, but for me, the radio fatigue didn't kill it. and I feel like it fits better overall with the kind of list that I was trying to make. Been Caught Stealing.
Yes.
Well, everybody's waiting on my opinion on this. And actually, between the two of them, if I had to take one, I probably would have taken Jane Says.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I didn't even want to listen to this. Like hearing the dogs in the background was just like, oh, really? I like it in a way it like broke up the record for me, and it's always so horrible to say because there was clearly a time where this song was influential into me actually enjoying this band, like at a time where I was listening to them, but like I don't know, there was just, you know, Jane Says, I listened to the song and I'm like, yeah, this is a really good song, this is a meaningful song, and I think I was just a dick for not taking that. But Been Caught Stealing, I just kind of don't like it anymore.
Well, no, I get that because, you know, to your point, no, there's no meaning, but this is the one song that kind of transported me. Like all the other songs have a little bit more meaning past just taking back to the 90s. This one sat me in my chair watching Beavis and Butthead when I was like 14, 15. And I was sitting right there thinking about the video and the chainsaw and the dogs. And again, this is one like I could see if we get to this next round, this being one of those. If we can do it without it, sure. But I like it still just enough that I had to have it on my list. So Been Caught Stealing has 2. It gets to hang around and live to see another day. All right, Randy?
All right, let's go back to nothing shocking. Pigs and Zen.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
There we go.
That one I was going to fight for if I had to.
I also want to, hold on. I want to reference Peter's list. Because I want to see how many, like, 4s we would have gotten.
Yeah, Mountain Song and Stop, probably, you think? He seems like a Pigs and Zen kind of guy.
He actually, yeah, Pigs and Zen would have been. Mountain Song would have been. Stop would have been.
Okay.
And Been Caught Stealing would have been 3. So
What about Jane? Oh, you said Jane Says would
yeah,
have been 2.
yeah, Jane Says would have been 2.
So he's perfect so far.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Pigs and Zen is in. I mean, you know, what more can we say? This is just kind of, this is classic. This is great. All right. Curtis?
We talked about how the recent album, Great Escape Artist, got a little bit weird. The song that I think that was most like true to form or like classic sound off that is Irresistible Force. You guys have that?
I do.
I don't, but I love that. That was one I was listening to just before you guys came on. And I was like, oh man, I wonder if I kind of messed that up. So I'm glad to see that landed too.
And I didn't take it because of Gorilla Monsoon.
I mean,
he says it. Meets
Probably helps.
yeah.
There's like a live album where it's a parenthetical where it's parenthesis meets the immovable object.
Yeah. All right. So now the question is there's a couple more that feel like obvious homers, or do I kind of stretch out a little? Let's kind of take a look at Strays a little bit here. Let's see where kind of everybody is on Strays. As a matter of fact, I'll take the title track, Strays.
I got
Yes.
it.
Oh, hey, glad to see that. I didn't see that. I thought maybe I'd get it in the convo. All right.
I mean, we're talking about it, so you did,
Well,
technically.
Yeah.
I mean, all these are in a conversation,
Fair enough.
unless it's a dump out.
Fair enough. I just feel like, again, like there's some There's some jams on Strays that fit. And apparently we all agree that Strays is one of them. So, all right. Actually, let's balance it against Peter. Okay, this was the first one. Oh, he had Irresistible Force as well.
Nice.
So
Okay.
this is the first one he didn't have. Strays. So this would have been a 3. All right. Randy?
Okay. I'm going to stay on the same record because I said to myself before I listened to Strays, I'm like, there's going to be a lot of songs that I'm going to immediately when I hear it, it's just going to refresh my memory. And, you know, Strays, I think there were a couple other here, right, here and there, but it was kind of like muddied a little bit. Like, yeah, I remember it existing, but I can't like sing the song. And then this song comes up and right away I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I remember this one. Okay, let's get into it. I'm listening. And then the first lyrics, my mind willing able to the memories you overflow. And I'm like, God damn it, it's the Entourage theme song. I guess I totally forgot it was on the record. I thought that maybe they just had released it just for Entourage. And, you know, I take it because I think it's a kick-ass song, Superhero. But I also take it because I think there is just kind of a conversation to be had about Entourage and how that show is just not aged well at all. Terribly. So do you guys have it?
I don't.
Yes.
Oh, hey.
This has got to.
Into the convo. And actually, I think, yeah, Peter did too. Man, Peter's on fire.
Right. Only Strays is a miss.
Yeah. All right, Curtis?
Let's keep going with Strays. And I don't know where it's from, but definitely like had some licensing, or I don't know if it's a car commercial or what, but like another serious earworm, just because.
Yeah, man.
Well, that was the hit from the record.
Yeah, it was.
Yes.
That was the single. So
Okay.
yeah, that's a great song. That's another thing that when that record came out, I heard so many people complain about it and say like, "Oh, this is stupid. I hate this record." And they hated the single. I'm like, this has a really interesting sound to it. Like the guitar really elevates in this. And people didn't agree with me. It was so weird. I'm like, this is a kick-ass jam. Like this is Perry at his best. I love the song. I don't know why I hung out with people that didn't like Mountain Song or Just Because. Maybe they just hated Jane's Addiction. I don't know.
Maybe. For housekeeping, was that a yes as well?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So there we go. This was the second time that Peter has missed. This is one that came up. My friend Joe, I do the Barn Chirpers hockey podcast with. He had this as his wrestling theme at one point. Chase Steel.
Nice.
Yeah. I love this song. Like, again, like, talk about songs that can kind of hang with the tall, tall trees. This feels like right. If this would have been what Jane's did from there on, I'd have been like, cool. Like, this kind of feels like a natural evolution from Ritual to this. And I think to your point, Randy, I think this is a great radio song. So
Yeah.
just crazy that somebody would complain about it.
Top 40 by way of old Jane's. This is a very good tune.
Yeah. All right. So, all right. I feel like at this point I can play around a little bit because I think we're already at my 5 at least, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, already at my 5. So
I feel like we could get to 8, honestly.
Yeah.
There's a couple out there that feel like they could. Let me stretch my legs. I'm gonna stay on Strays, but I'm gonna try a different sound here. Like, this was my kind of justification for leaving Jane Says off. I feel like this kind of does the same thing, but feels like it has more to it. I don't know how else to put it. Everybody's Friend.
I do not have that one.
No.
Yeah, like I said, I had a feeling that one was going to kind of go into the bin. That's the first one into the bin as well.
No, Jane Says.
Oh, yeah, you're
well,
right.
If you had Peter's. So.
Yep. I just want to make sure that Peter couldn't have saved me on that one either. Nope. All right, Randy?
Feels like Ritual needs a little love right now. How about No One's Leaving?
Yes.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
And now we will not get any more, so I can get that final say.
This would have been
So
a
I can
4
put
as
in
well.
The Entourage song.
We would have all had this. That's crazy.
Oh, Peter had it too?
Yeah.
Nice.
What is that, like 4 or 5? We would have had like 4 unanimous, I think.
4, yep. He didn't have Strazer just because, I think he said.
I mean, Ritual side 1, it just bangs so hard. All these tunes are excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, Curtis.
Let's stay on it and do Ain't No Right.
I got it.
I don't. Peter did. But it's nice to have something in the combo if we need it.
We have our 10 already. If everything goes out to the pile, which it won't, but we're out of NTP.
Yay.
Which is pretty obvious for an artist that only has 45 songs.
Yeah. All right. Ain't No Right was Curtis, right? So back to me. Let me trot out one of these Great Escape songs, see if I can find you guys. How about Underground?
I'm above ground.
Yeah, same.
All right. Into the bin I go again. All right, Randy.
Curtis, I have a feeling you have this because you were in a certain place at a certain time before a certain song in a certain Wrigley Field where a certain Vetter Ed started singing this before Corduroy. And that's not why I'm taking it, but I definitely, seeing that on Let's Play 2 and all that definitely was very exciting for me. Summertime Rolls.
I definitely broke the no cover rule for that. Absolutely. Summertime Rolls for sure.
Well, I do not have that one. Well, let me see.
Yeah. It just, the way that they do it is another epic.
Yeah, let's get weird.
Right.
There's another one Peter had. Absolutely on fire. All right,
Is
Curtis.
Peter out of songs yet?
Curtis, you're up.
How about let's do a little more, nothing shocking. We'll do Ocean Size.
Yeah, man.
Got it.
Yes.
There's your 7, Curtis.
Love it.
And
God, I think we can get 9 at
Yeah.
this point.
that's also one that Peter had.
So we're at a true 5.
Yeah. Just crazy talk. I mean, not really, but yes. Like,
Yeah.
So far, it's kind of like divided up pretty nicely too. We have 2 Ritual songs, we have 3 Shocking songs, and then 2 Stray songs.
yeah.
That's some pretty good maneuvering.
All right. So back around to me. What do I got left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we still got a couple rounds in us too. And there's still like maybe 2 out there that might go. All right, I'm gonna stay on my weird or my ones that might not, just cause.
We already played that one.
Hey, I told you guys that I made like a change immediately after I told you guys I was ready, and that's because I was listening to my list, and I had cut a song, and then I kept listening, and I was like, oh wait, no, I should keep this one and find a different one. So I finished my list, added my 21 back just so I could cut something else, and this was that song, To Match the Sun.
No.
Yeah, should have went with my gut and left that off. This is what these rounds are for. All right, Randy?
I got 2 from Nothing Shocking. I don't know which one to play. I don't know which one is more likely to get in the top 10. So I'm going to close my eyes and Ted, just admit it.
I don't have
No.
that one.
No, really?
No, very good tune.
Very good.
Wow.
Very good.
Okay. I thought I'd at least get 2 on that. Wow.
Yeah.
Peter did have that one. So technically you would.
Thanks, Peter.
Peter's got your back. All right. Curtis?
About on Ritual 3 Days.
I did not take that one.
No, me neither. Let me see if Peter could have saved you. Just for fun.
I think that was the one that Peter was talking about in the chat that he saw Jane's open up with when
Nice.
they played
he had
with
that. Yep.
9 Inch Nails.
Ninja.
Ninja. That made me so happy. It shouldn't have. All right. We're dancing around this one, which makes me believe that either I'm crazy for thinking that it could have been a homer, or it's going to be a 2 or a heartbreak. Who knows? Had a Dad.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, there we go.
Yay. That was the other one where I'm like, either I would have picked Had a Dad and wouldn't have found out that Ted just went to the pile, but no. Yeah, this makes sense. Had a Dad makes sense to get in.
Yeah, a little more Nothing Shocking. It makes sense for the top 10. Good.
Totally.
I like it.
Totally.
And spoiler alert, that is my last one from that record.
Oops. There we go, that song. I think I got one left. So. All right. Randy?
Did Peter have Had a Dad?
Oh, good question. Because yes.
Okay, that's a true 6 right there. We got 8. Oh, we got 2 in us. I don't know.
I think we're starting to hit that area where it's like we were all kind of picking, like we might get a couple more 2s.
Yeah, I think so. All right, these are all just shots on the dark. How about Kettle Whistle?
No.
No.
But Peter did have Kettle Whistle, so.
Wow, it sounds like we wouldn't have had any songs go to the pile
Right?
if Peter were here. Damn you, Peter.
All right, Curtis?
I'll stay on that album. Do you guys have So What?
I do.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Peter would have brought us to 3 on So What.
Okay.
Again, just for housekeeping and whatnot. All right. I'll save that for a dump out. What do I got left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You know what? Maybe this will be our last round and then dump out because we're at 8 anyway, and it doesn't feel like there's like I'm looking at one that might get in.
Play it.
Yeah. Actually, no, I know it won't. I know for a fact it won't.
Why is that?
Because I know you don't have anything from that record. So
Oh, yeah. Okay. My bad.
I'll just trot this one out. This one doesn't feel like it's got much of a chance, but how about Classic Girl?
I do have that.
Hey.
I don't.
All right, Classic Girl, where are you? There you are. Me and Curtis. Other than Jane says, have you hit the bin at all, Curtis?
Yeah, just with their most popular song. What a weird thing to have happen.
All right. Is that back to me? Or did I
No, I think you just picked that.
It's you.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what here could be the one, but since this let off an album, maybe I'll give this a shot. True Nature.
I got it.
No for me.
Very close.
What was the one that we just did? Oh, Peter had Classic Girl.
Yeah.
What's the one we just did? I forgot already.
True Nature.
True Nature. It was me and Randy. And Peter had that one as well.
He's got to be out by this point, right?
I see one that hasn't come up yet. 2 that hasn't come up yet. Yeah, he's only got 2 left.
He played a good game.
Yeah.
If only he were here.
Yep. All right, Curtis?
This just to kind of cap off Great Escape Artist here for me. To End the Lies, the other single.
Oh, I didn't know that was a single. But I do have that, yeah.
No, I do not.
And that is one that Peter does not have.
Peter has 2. You want to dump him out?
Well, I mean, we'll see how many remain because like I'm here at dump out anyway, and then we'll go.
Got it.
Do we have a walk off in us? How many do you have, Justin?
1, 2, 3, 4. I only have 4 left.
I got 5.
So
yeah,
it's
I'm 4, 3 maybe.
mathematically possible.
Yes.
All right. This one I know for a fact is not Up the Beach.
No.
I do have that.
Hey.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah. I like the jam, but figured take stuff with lyrics because Perry is the band. Yeah. A lot of the band.
Peter does not have Up the Beach. All right, next. Standing in the Shower, Thinking.
Yeah, I thought about that one, but I was very much on the ground.
Hey-o. All right.
No from you, Curtis?
Correct.
How about Obvious?
No.
I do have that.
Hey.
You guys have been connecting on like the last handful here.
Yep.
All right.
So there's one more. This is our walk off. Can we get 9? It's happened before.
Yeah, this is the last one. Then She Did.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
And you know what's wild? That's one of Peter's.
Oh, perfect. I love it. You knew it would be Ritual though, so that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
I'll tell you guys, I was between that one and 3 days. And that one just kind of worked better for me.
Where did we get? 9? And then we still have like a couple. Yeah, wow. I should have just went with my gut. I should have went with the over. All right, so I'm out, and then Peter's only got one left. All right, Randy?
Of course.
Yes.
Wow.
That one was cool. I like the violin in that one.
Hmm.
You got to be pretty close to done now, too, Curtis, right?
I'm done. I'm done.
There you go.
You're done? Okay. My last two are Price I Pay and Broken Oh, I got three. Price I Pay, Broken People, Words Right Out of My Mouth. Did Peter have any of those?
Nope. Broken People, Words Right Out of My Mouth. And funnily enough, the one that Peter had was the joke in the group chat because we were trying to figure out which songs that we were actually going to take from Kettle Whistle. And Randy goes, "Which song do you take from that one?" And then as a separate message just wrote "whore." And so it came up as a separate notification, and I was like, "Oh, whores." It looked like Randy was calling anyway. If you have to explain the joke, it doesn't work. Fellas, wow. 9. Mountain Song, Stop, Pigs and Zen, Strays, Just Because No One's Leaving Oceanside Had a Dead Than She Did. Look, this is one where this is like the Curtis special. I feel like all of us can, push me over with a feather. Like we'll go over these twos. And as a matter of fact, I'm looking at it. I feel like Ben Caught Stealin's like first one off the block. Like I feel like we can do it without it now. If there was more spots,
Indeed.
I'd probably fight for it, but all right.
I'm in between two.
All right, so let me read these out. We got Irresistible Force, Superhero, Ain't No Right, Summertime Rolls, So What, Classic Girl, True Nature, End of the Lies, Up the Beach, Obvious, and Of Course. You said you've got 2 you're looking at, Randy?
Yeah. Yeah, Entourage and Summertime Rolls.
All right.
Superheroes, if you take away the factor that it was on that show, it's a really killer song.
How do you take away it being a theme song for a show that was on for a decade, though? I mean, that's
I know. But like they didn't play the whole song. Like there are pieces in that song that you don't hear from hearing the intro.
yeah, but
Not that it matters, but
it's a pretty like iconic little Perry lyrical riff that's like right at the end, right? Like
yeah, I think so.
where he goes, "I'm okay," like very, I don't know. I of those two, I'd way heavier go Summertime Rolls. And Irresistible Force. We want to talk about this album or just leave it the hell off?
I don't know. I mean, we can talk about it because everything is represented really well.
Yeah.
Does Strays need 3, or do we want to go back to the 2 classic albums?
See, that's what I was going to get to. I feel like because Shocking already has 4, I feel like we can probably. Well, see, and that takes out Randy's Summertime Rolls. I feel like putting another one from Shocking. I don't think we need another one from Shocking. If anything, another one from Ritual to kind of even out with Shocking. But I mean, it does beg the question. We have 2 available. Do we put one from the new record? Like we got Irresistible Force and we got Into the Lies. Can those stand up?
Okay. Here's my argument for it, Justin. I think we all went into this not even knowing they had a 4th record.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So somebody that even is like gonna peek into the list might see this and be like, what the fuck is this? And it might just be kind of funny for that to be a reveal that Jane's Addiction had a 4th studio album. And I think I took Irresistible Force and I didn't take End the Lies, so that's gonna be my pick there.
What do you think? We'll give you the final push here, Curtis. Like, do you think, to Randy's point, do you think it's kind of fun to go, by the way, they had a fourth record?
Yeah, I mean, what's the purpose of this list, right?
Mm-hmm.
Turning somebody on to this band. Yeah, there is definitely an album that came out when Obama was president. So let's put that song in there. Yes.
All right. Well, and like I said, Irresistible Force was, I was listening to it right before you guys, I think that was the one, right before you guys came on. I was like, oh, do I have room for this? And I just didn't want to do the work. So, all right, there we go. We got 10. Mountain Song, Stop, Pigs in Zen, Strays, Just Because, No One's Leaving, Ocean Size Had a Dad, Then She Did, Irresistible Force. That's quite the list, Randy. What are you looking at as number one?
Well, last couple episodes, I decided to go against the grain and be like, let's take this song that, less people know. And I have, if we want to go in direction, I have a song that I think fits that, but I think it's going to be pretty agreeable that this song is going to be Mountain Song. I feel like that's the direction we're going in, but my wild, throw it out there, see what everybody thinks pick is Pigs in Zen.
Ooh, okay. What are you thinking, Curtis?
Pigs in Zen is a very good tune. I really am drawn to the concept of a band having a mission statement song, like "Here We Are," "This Is What We're About." We got Corduroy, like the first, song one, track one type vibes. Although this one isn't, but this is the first first thing that a lot of people have heard by them. It's like the way it comes in, the riff, Perry at the beginning. I think Mountain Song is very obvious here.
I mean, I made it known when I led with it that, it's my favorite Jane's song. I never even thought of it as a statement song, but you're right, Curtis. It is this, here we are, this is what we do, and take it or leave it. And even when you watch that video, it's like different, this band is different. And again, man, I give you props for taking the swing. I feel like this one's less heartbreaking, Randy.
Oh yeah, no. I feel like I'm gonna do this for every episode just to test the waters, see how people feel about it, and bring another conversation. Because, yeah, I mean, all the other episodes we could have done in the last couple of weeks, we could have just said, "Yep, agreed." I feel like for handfuls of episodes before that, everyone was just like, "Yeah, let's just take this," and agreeable. But let's think about it a little bit. This is the number one. This is the one that is potentially going to be in the top 10 of the year, or it's the one that, you want to make an impact on somebody. And I love Pigs in Zen. I think that was the one that I came out of this listening, session saying like, this is maybe my favorite Jane's Addiction song now, but it's Mountain Song. Like, who are we kidding? It's Mountain Song.
It does everything you want. And it defines the band in a swift 4 minutes and 3 seconds. So let's lock that in. Mountain Song it is, at the top where it belongs, at the top of the mountain. Heyo. Mountain Song is our number one. Stop, Pigs in Zen, Strays, Just Because. There was a brief moment I thought about putting up Just Because. No One's Leaving, Ocean Size Had a Dad, Then She Did, Irresistible Force rounds out our 10. Let's let Mountain Song get a moment in the sun. Coming down the mountain.
Whenever you can have that moment where there's so much building up to that, and the band just bottles that energy, and then it almost just stops, and there's the moment. Like, After that, you don't need a rest of the song. That's the song.
Well, and then the release, like the release you get in the simplicity, like the way it opens up in the chorus, the better cash in, and then they bottle it right back up with the cash in now, honey, cash in, Miss Smith. Like they bring it right back, like tighten it back up. It's like you have this moment to breathe, and then it's like, no, well, let's bring it right back. Oh, I love Mountain Song. And that is why it's our number one. And folks, you can come in and make a conversation, make a point just like this if you like about whatever band you want to talk about by going to legionstupid.com and you click on podcasts, you click on Deprogrammed, scroll a little bit like halfway down. There's a sign-up sheet. Tell me what band you want to talk about. If that's not available, the absolute best thing you could do is join the Legion of Stupid Discord and just tell me, and I'll get you the list, because there are changes coming to legionstupid.com soon for financial reasons. You know, I'll put that out there. But I'm not sure how. I think we've got till August, so depending on when you're listening to this. Yeah, come talk about whatever band, and that's the way you can do it. You can also listen to the show there. You want to listen to Randy episodes, you click his name, it'll take you to Randy episodes. Again, I feel like maybe I shouldn't say this because it might not be available when you're listening to this. You want to listen to Curtis episodes, you click his name. If you want to listen to me, boom, I'm on all of them. You don't need to click on a name. You just listen to all of them. Yeah, man. Whatever podcast platform you are listening on, subscribe, rate would be appreciated. If it's Spotify, 4 or 5 stars would be super awesome. It actually does help the algorithm. I've seen a difference in numbers when somebody gives us a 5-star review on Spotify. As far as Apple, I have no idea, but it would be cool if you would do that, if you would leave a 5-star review and yell at us about a list if you want. That's fine. Also, there's a Q&A available on Spotify where you can answer what you think are the best songs for whatever artist we covered that week. So all that would be awesome. Patreon.com/ohhijustin is where you can go if you'd like to help said financial woes we talked about earlier. $1 a month gets you in the door. It gets you access to different Discord channels. It gets you deprogrammed before the rest of the world, and it gets you the conversation we're about to have in T-minus 3 minutes after the fact. All those things definitively come to the Patreon, patreon.com/ohhijustin. Other stuff eventually, occasionally, goes there as well. So there's also a little chat feature I try to get going every once in a while where we kind of talk about deprogrammed t-shirt ideas, things like that. Happens in the Patreon. So I think that covers everything, right? Yeah. With that, Jane's Addiction. It only took us 8 years, but we're there. Learn them and love them, people. We'll see you next week. All right.